I'll send those that hurt you straight to hell.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2022 Western Eye for Eye, a film that is written and directed by L.J. Martin, and it stars John Savage, Blanca Blanco and Shane Klaus, and the director L.J. Martin also appears in the film. Now the film is essentially quite a basic revenge story, I suppose. There is a sheriff who essentially has his wife, who is 6 months pregnant, assaulted and murdered by a bunch of thugs who work for a guy called Braddock, played by John Savage. He then swears revenge, essentially gives up his sheriff badge sort of thing, and he goes on the hunt for those responsible, and starts taking them down one at a time. Right, what are my thoughts then on Eye for Eye? Well, this is a very, very low budget Western. So again, I've said this quite a lot with very low budget films. You do pretty much need to check your expectations at the door here with this one. Very low budget. Now, I do review quite a lot of low budget films, low budget Westerns as well on the channel. And some of them are actually pleasantly surprising in how they present. Now, for me, if you're doing a Western, you need to really believe, they need to transport you back into that time. And then that's half the battle, I think, you know what I mean? Fortunately, with this one, they don't do that. I do honestly think the budget genuinely lets this one down. It's one of those where the costumes don't feel authentic. The way they carry the guns, everything like that, it just doesn't feel authentic. So you're not immersed in this as a story. Now, that's not to say that everything is really shoddily done here for a low-budget film. I actually think it's quite pretty at times, this film. Some of the shots, even some of the cinematography, you know, is actually quite nicely done. And they do try and present this as like an old-school Western. It's almost like an episode of, you know, one of those old Westerns like Bonanza and Rawhide or something like that. It feels... Even though it's quite a dark theme, it's kind of presented in almost a family-friendly fashion, almost, if that makes sense. It doesn't feel overly threatening and dark, which I actually think is a shame, because as I've mentioned, the subject matter here is pretty dark. You know, a heavily pregnant woman is murdered, and this, you know, the guy goes on the revenge for the killers to try and take them out. It could have actually been really gritty and really dark, this film, and it just isn't. Unfortunately, what we get is an overly long film. I think it was about 1 hour and 42 minutes, and I'm not kidding, after about half an hour, I remember looking at how long the film ran for, and I was pretty distraught in the knowledge that I had over an hour to go left in this film, and I was at that point thinking, where are they going to go with this? Because, as I say, it's a fairly simple plot, and a lot of this film is stuffed full of needless conversations between characters, and a lot of these characters that are having these conversations, either English isn't their first language, so you can't necessarily understand them fully, or their conversations are so dull, you're not interested either. So again, I think they could have trimmed this film down probably by a good 25 minutes, I would suggest. Maybe even longer. Make it shorter, make it sweeter, and make it more about this guy wanting revenge for what they did to his wife, an unborn child. That is a good hook, I think, for a Western. And I do think they kind of wasted it here. Which I genuinely do think is a bit of a shame, because I thought there was some potential here. Other things that let the film down, unfortunately, is like poor editing. it's one of those films where two characters are in the same room talking, and the camera's focused on one for when they're saying what they're saying, and then it shifts and looks at the other person when they're saying what they're saying, and it's just really poor editing. You know what I mean? You didn't need to film it like that. It's disjointed for the viewer, so it does suffer quite badly, I think, from some fairly poor editing here. So poor sound as well. The sound's pretty tinny, and you get this like cowboy song playing on loop in the background. This cowboy jingle almost playing on loop on the background. It gets quite annoying after a while, and then occasionally it'll shift to this quite jolly cowboy song that plays over it. And again, it's just it kind of doesn't make sense. And like I say, right at the beginning, when it shows this brutal killing of this pregnant woman, it then shifts to this jolly cowboy song and the guy riding along on his horse, and you're just thinking that isn't in fit. It doesn't match what we've just watched. It takes away the impact of the scene we've just watched, if you like. So it's quite unbalanced. It's quite disjointed, this film, and it is. The low budget absolutely lets it down. Fans of low budget westerns, there may be something here for you to enjoy. I really struggle with this one, and I do watch a fair amount of low budget westerns, so unfortunately I can only really give this one a 3 out of 10. I wish I could give it more, but unfortunately I can't. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, don't forget to like. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and of course I'll be back with more content on the channel very, very soon.